Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast Retro Life Review, movies of the 1980s and 90s. I'd like to say I'm going to go ahead and officially announce that we've been talking about it. We kicked it around last week a little bit. We did our first year, 80s and some 90s. Our second year, completely 1980s. So we're going to go back to mixing it up a little bit and give us some newer movies to kick in a little bit along with these 80s. But this week we're gonna stick with an 80s favorites of mine and Travis Rollins, my
Yo, yo,
co-host
yo.
here. We are going to talk about. Let's see. I guess this would be considered a war movie in a sense, wouldn't it? I mean,
It
they do.
is. It's a military
Yeah,
movie for sure.
yeah. They invade someplace. I mean, it's Heartbreak Ridge with Clint Eastwood.
hmm
So fun movie to
And
watch.
Mario Van Peebles.
Stitch Jones,
Trip Me Out.
the
Or,
Ayatollah
or
of rock
Kane.
and roller.
Or Kane from uh Highlander Dimensions.
He was.
And he was also, what was he? He was a cowboy in some movie.
He was. I can't remember which one it was. But I also remember him from Jaws the Revenge, playing one of
Oh,
the.
yeah?
Yeah, he was one of the Jamaican guys there, or Bahaman. One from the guy from the Bahamas out there. They were doing their research on the different things there before the shark arrives.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Um.
Nice.
But before we get there, just to get this out there, Travis, and tell
Yo, yo.
everybody about your son's birthday today. Happy birthday to Connor, by
Oh,
the way.
yeah. Happy birthday to Connor. He turned 12 today. As this recording, it is the 19th of January, the day before inauguration. Is it swearing in, whatever they call it?
I believe yes, inauguration will be tomorrow on Monday the 20th.
Mm-hmm.
The man who brought back TikTok, apparently.
I got to laughing of that.
Everybody has been in an uproar. Who lost TikTok? What else am I going to watch videos on?
But
Oh my
that's what they've
God.
been talking about. TikTok's going away. TikTok's going away. And I said, no, it's not. It's not going to happen. And then when I woke up this morning, Tasha's like, well, TikTok did go away, but it came back. I said, you watch and see. It's going to be like, Chunk's going to be like, I saved TikTok. I was like, no. Do people need the information? Is this a free country? The TikTok's wonderful. It's beautiful.
It's the
And
most
and she
beautiful
started
platform
laughing.
for videos there ever was.
Well,
Nobody
see,
can make videos more beautiful than TikTok except me if I was to make
yeah.
videos.
If I were to do it, I would be the greatest, the greatest. But yeah, no. She said that she started laughing and said that's exactly what happened. Like they made a statement thanking Trump for helping them. He was instrumental,
They,
and I was
they
like,
did.
really? I was like, see
They
there.
did. I was watching one of the football games earlier, and I got a message to my phone. It said a video from somebody I follow on TikTok. I'm like, well, that's odd. So I pulled it up, and it's a little thing popped up first. It said, thanks to President Trump who helped get them reinstated or something. And I guess it's even if it might be temporary, there was talk of it might be maybe being temporary so they can show that. I don't know that it's
It's all a
useful or that they could
scam.
sell it or something, but
It's all a scam,
everybody
dude.
there's a ton of people worried they were going to lose money because they make an income off of TikTok and everything, and uh,
Why do they want to ban it? Because they can't figure out how they can make money off of it, how they can
I
regulate it. You know what I
you
mean? Like,
know
come
what
on.
you know what the reason supposedly was, right? Was that
Supposedly, it's because they're gathering information.
right? And then I was telling my dad, I said, "What information are
Meanwhile,
they gathering?" They're like, "Oh my
yeah,
god, Chris likes watching puppy videos at midnight every night before he goes to bed, and
not to
little
mention
Susie watches kitty cat videos." And
Not to mention Timu's out here being run by real criminals, and they ain't got no problem with it.
right, where else can you get a pair of $15 earbuds that translates 150 different languages for you? I mean,
Yeah,
other than Timu.
seven hundred
Um,
dollar drones for daggum $40.
yeah, yeah, that's legit. That's on the up and up. But yeah, it's been a great weekend. It's been a fun weekend for some of us. It sounds like you did a lot of little partying at a fun place for for the
Yeah,
kid and
a little place called
everything. And
Spare Time. It's kind of like I don't know, Gaddy Town, Frankie's Fun Park. What's that one that Guy Fieri's got? What I mean? They do like they got the little restaurant, and then they got video games and
you been to Dave and
laser
Buster's
tag
before?
and all that. Yeah, yeah, Dave and Buster's. Yep.
Kind of like a Dave and Buster's.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, I've been to several Dave and Buster's. They don't have laser tag in them, but they've got the bowling and the games and the eating and
Mhm.
all that fun stuff and everything. So,
Show enough.
all right, well,
Yeah, we
that's
had a good
cool.
time.
That's definitely cool. I
What about
watched a
yourself?
little.
Anything interesting going on with you?
No, I watched a little football today. Watched my favorite college locally. It's Vanderbilt. Make fun of me if you will. I don't
Oh,
care.
Vandy.
I don't care.
Good old
They knocked
Vandy.
off the University of Tennessee in basketball, the number 6 team in the nation yesterday here in Nashville. So
Right on.
great, great time if you're a Vanderbilt fan for that.
Yeah.
So did that, watched some football today, like I said, and it's just been overall fun. Tomorrow, I believe, is the national championship for football. Got Notre
Right on.
Dame and Ohio State playing. So if you're a sports fan this weekend,
The
uh,
Buckeyes
a
and the
lot of good
Fighting
stuff going
Irish.
on. Yeah, Buckeyes and Little Irishmen
Mm,
walking around fighting.
old Rudy.
Bucky and Lucky Charms going at it.
Bucky and Lucky.
Pull them up.
Did you happen to watch this movie this weekend?
This morning, man.
Oh, nice.
I always make time for the movie. I always do.
Heck yeah.
But I've seen it so many times, though. I probably knew most of it like the back of my hand. This is such a funny movie for me,
Yeah.
and yet a fun movie at the same time. And for those of you who are not familiar with Heartbreak Ridge, just give it a quick rundown here.
Hmm.
This release date, December 5th, 1986, directed by Clint Eastwood. The writer was James Karabatsos for the screenplay. We had Clint Eastwood, Marsha Mason, Mario Van Peebles, Everett McGill, and Bo Svensson to throw a few names out there, some people who are in it. It is a war slash drama type movie, and it ran for
Yeah.
130 minutes. The summary basically goes as this: Heartbreak Ridge follows Gunnery Sergeant Thomas Highway, played by Clint Eastwood, a battle hardened Marine nearing retirement as he takes charge of a group of undisciplined and inexperienced Marines. Highway is a gruff and no nonsense leader with a history of valor in combat, but his rough around the edges personality and old school methods often clash with modern military practices. Assigned to prepare his new unit for combat, Highway faces an uphill battle against both the rebellious attitudes of the young Marines under his command and the bureaucracy of the military system. His new boss, in other words, isn't like the old timers. Despite his
Right.
obstacles, he pushes men to their limits, transforming them to a capable and cohesive fighting force. The film builds up its climax during the 1983 United States invasion of Grenada, where Highway's unit faces real combat, where their training and teamwork are put to the test, and they carry out a daring rescue mission. So it's got a little undertone also of him trying to get back with his ex-wife Aggie. So
Hmm.
there's a little undertone of that for a subplot, and the struggles to get back with her and make things work between him, her, and him and his job with the Corps. So I like between put all this together, and it's just a really entertaining movie. So Travis, see,
Yeah.
I said earlier this movie was released in 1986. That makes you a whopping 6 years old upon its
6 years
release.
old.
How old were you? Do you think when you finally saw this movie?
I probably saw it with my grandpa or my dad, one or the two on TV. Probably 8, 9, 10, 11, somewhere around in there, 12 even.
Yeah.
Nah, yeah, it would have been like between 8 and 10, probably.
Now between 8 and 10, did you really didn't know
Didn't
what you
care
were?
about it at all.
Yeah, didn't really care about it really, but truly. But when do you
Yeah,
think you first
it was
saw it
on the TV
that you truly liked it for what it
today.
was? You understood it
Today.
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 That's
Yeah,
still awesome though.
I've
That's
never gone
awesome.
back and I've never gone back and rewatched it. There was only one thing that I didn't like about it,
Hmm.
and it was the portrayal of it was the unit because okay, so their unit is Marine Recon.
Hmm.
So if those of you that don't know this, Marine Recon is the Special Forces segment of the Marines. So Marine Recon is to the Marines what the Special Forces is to the Army, what the SEALs are to the Navy, what the you know what the Commando is to the Air Force. So the way that they portrayed them as being a ragtag bunch of idiots, or I,
Goofballs,
goofballs, and
lazy, laying around.
right. I did not appreciate that, but other than that, yeah, it was humorous, and the little thing back and forth with him and his wife, and of course he's got to be the baddest guy in the room all the time. Uh,
Right.
that part I didn't like either. It's like I don't know, Clint. Even when he tries to yell, it's like, dude, how could they hear him with all these bullets going off? He's like, all right, form up. It's like,
Right.
are you serious, dude?
Right. Do you remember
But
the
no,
first time that he lines them up out there and they're going to do
yeah,
PT, morning PT, and they're going to take off
yeah,
walking? And all you hear is, you left, you
yeah.
left,
You're
you
left.
left, right,
You're left.
left.
Yeah, you're left. It's
How are
so
they
cool.
hearing him say this? They must really know where to go
That's why he got the
already.
other dude. That's why he got the other dude to do the cadence. Hi.
Ponce, do, do the certifiable.
Yeah. But no, yeah, I did. I dug it. That's and there's always a story of. It's funny too. The dude, what I can't remember his name. The big guy, the great big guy that they pulled out was going to whoop him.
Swede, Swede,
Swede.
Swede,
Oh,
Swede.
Swede. So Swede's like 6'8", 300 pound. You know what I mean? Come out walking out looking like Dave Batista or something. He's a big old muscle head. And it's funny to me. I don't remember the guy's name. I heard my dad tell the story 100 times, and I can't remember anybody's name in it. But I remember him saying, talking about when they went to basic. So there was this little dude. Said he was little short, sawed off, but he was jacked, drill sergeant. And I don't remember the private's name, but he's like, if anybody, they're going back and forth. He's like, if anybody standing here thinks that they can take me, or whatever it was he said, he's basically challenging them to a fight.
Mm-hmm.
And said that him and that dude stepped out, and in kind of the same situation. That dude just bigger than hell. Said he snatched him up by his shirt and went around back. And he said you heard the god off his racket, and they came back around the corner and said that dude, the private, didn't have a scratch on him, and said that damn sergeant said his shirt was tore up. It's damn bleeding from the daggum like corner of his eye. His nose was bleeding. His lip was busted. Said dude fell back in. And he said that sergeant was walking back and forth. He said,
Oh, hold on. Oh, we lost Travis temporarily. Hold up.
am I back?
All right, we got him back now.
Oh, what happened?
Dude, you went off screen completely and back into the
Yeah,
green room somehow, and
that's weird.
and then they come back and said Travis is back. So
But anyway, daggum, we'll call him Private Jones. I don't know. I don't call him Private Jones, but he said that sergeant was walking back and forth. He said, "Men, Private Jones just whipped my ass." He said, but then he said that dude snatched him up. He said when he got in front of him again, he grabbed him by the shirt and snatched him down in his face and spit in his face and said, "But I bet you won't do it twice." He's like, "You want to take another shot?" And said it. Private Jones basically just stood to attention and said, "Sir, no, sir." It's like it's like it was. I always thought that was just a funny story. Like he was running around like a little, like he ran the whole world, and he came back like just with his head held high, like no shame in it, just like Private Jones just whipped my ass.
hey, it is what it is, right? There
Yeah.
was no denying it.
So I always have a soft spot for movies like this. Like, I mean, this wasn't basic training. Like I said, um, recon is an elite unit, but I always like movies like this. I have a soft spot from growing up. All my family was in the older, like my grandfather's age was in World War II, and then like my dad and his friends did like Nam and uh, whatever conflicts were around that time. So I always enjoy hearing or seeing these kinds of films because of those stories that I grew up listening to.
Yeah. Did you know this movie at the time of its release, it received a lot of mixed reviews? I've always thought it was a great movie, but you know how
Hmm.
critics can be and everything.
Hmm.
You had some critics praising Clint Eastwood's performance and direction, but criticism of the film's somewhat formulaic plot. It says However,
Mhm.
it was a commercial success and has gained since a reputation as a solid military drama, especially appreciated by fans of Eastwood's tough guy persona.
Yeah, I feel like it was definitely a formulaic plot. Like it's easy. I mean, it's 100% you see that coming. You know what I mean? Tough guy goes in, he's got a ragtag bunch of goof offs, and he whips them into shape, and then they prove it. You know, so I mean, how many times has that been done? I think one of the movies, one of my favorite movies of this nature, that does stray from those formulas is called Tigerland. With I think I've spoke about it on here before. It's got Colin Farrell in it, and Colin was always staying back and like basically like basic training. I'm not sure it was basic. It's like a secondary training or something. But what he was doing was he was pushing people, like he was getting people kicked out. Like he was taking, I don't know, he was super smart, and some of his superiors knew it, and they were pushing him and wanted him to they wanted to either kick him out, or they wanted him to move forward and become a leader like they knew he could be. But what he was doing, and you don't really see this until the latter half of the movie, or the last three quarters of the movie. But what he's doing is he's like basically psychologically evaluating these dudes that come in here, and he's like, okay, you're going to get killed, so he's like, we're going to figure out how to get you kicked out, basically. So he's basically, when it turns around, he's saving lives. And not only is he saving the lives of the people that are enlisted, it goes through is real. It gets real in depth about all this too. It goes through, and he's like, I'm not just doing this for them. I'm doing it for y'all too, because what happens when you get this person out here that's incapable, or they freeze, and then the whole unit's gone, or the entire platoon suffers, or whatever.
Hmm.
It's a real good one. If you hadn't seen that one, Tigerland, that's one of my favorites.
Well, definitely keep in mind, Tigerland. I'll be checking it out. I haven't heard of it, but I'll be checking it out now.
Oh, it's amazing. Great movie.
And one of the things I like about his character in here, Sergeant Gunny Highway, is that he's just got this no nonsense, I don't care attitude with these one liners he throws back at you.
Mm.
Like just because we're holding hands, don't mean we'll be taking warm showers in the morning or something like that. Or you
Right.
look like you just had the I, I just pumped the neighbor's dog look or something. Or
Yeah.
one of the things that stood out to me is the funniest thing he said in the whole movie to me. At the beginning of the movie, it's showing you he's got his current troubles. He's locked up in
In the
jail.
jailhouse.
It's not the jailhouse scene where he's telling his story and the little biker looking dude comes up to him to start the
Yeah.
fight. It's not really that part. It's the part
Butterbean.
where he's in court. That wasn't Butterbean. He looked
I
like
know it wasn't.
Butterbean,
I'm
don't
just
he?
saying.
He has a
Yeah.
Butterbean look to him.
Yeah.
But he's been excused by the judge. One last chance is all he's giving him.
Hmm.
$100 fine. He peed on the cop car's patrol car.
Right.
And it's Officer Reese, but he's had trouble with him in the past. Apparently, as he walks by him out of the courtroom, he kind of whispers to him. He says, "Your nightstick file for divorce, Reese." And he's walking his way out, and Reese is yelling, "Who do you think you are, peeing on my squad car? You think you can break our rules and just walk away? We supposed to wet our pants over your dress blues and your colored ribbons?" He says, "Take a look at that file of yours sometimes, hero. Check the dates. It's ancient history. One of these Saturday nights, you're going to be puking blood in some alley, and you're going to look up and see me standing there. Then we'll see." He says, "Keep dreaming." He says, "You're going to pay full price, dummy. I don't believe in no serviceman discounts." He says, "Yeah, too bad your old lady does." Just kept
Yeah.
walking. Didn't miss a
Too bad
beat.
your old lady does.
Didn't
Yeah.
miss a beat.
He
Kept
said it
walking.
right.
People,
Yeah. That was a good delivery too.
yeah,
That was a good delivery.
people are holding the cop back where he can't get to him. And
Hmm.
it's just very well placed at that time. And then he's off. He's back in his regular job at that point, called by his superior, his commander to come see him. They're sending him back to recon. He's put in for a transfer a couple of times already. He's finally getting what he wants. He's being sent back there to, I guess, finish out his time.
Hmm.
And on his way back on the bus trip is where he meets one of his soon-to-be uh, subordinates. Is that what we call him? Is that what we should
Yeah, I
call him? You
guess.
think?
Yeah. One of
Uh,
his men,
one of his little minions
one of
he
his
has to train
insubordinates.
and the insubordinates. Stitch Jones, played by Mario Van Peebles. He was at a
Stitch.
doing a performance somewhere, and he gets thrown out, and he thinks he's the rock star and everything.
Mm-hmm.
What's he call himself? The Duke of
Oh, I don't remember.
I was like the Earl of Funk, the Duke of Cool, the Ayatollah of Rock and Roller,
Yeah, something like
Stitch
that.
Jones. Anyway, he meets him on the bus, and the bus stops at a place for breakfast, and he's eating breakfast with Gunny Highway, and he ends up Highway's going to the restroom. It was funny because the he's kind of flirting with the waitress,
Mm-hmm.
and she asked him where did he get all them medals. He said that he wouldn't tell her, at least not where there's sunlight, or at least not out in the sunlight, or something along those lines. And
Yeah.
as he excuses himself to go to the restroom, Stitch tells him he'll pay for it. He's got the plastic out. He's going to take care of this. He said, "Well, here's
Mm-hmm.
for the tip." And so Stitch grabs his money for the tip, tells the waitress, "This my buddy here is going to pay for the breakfast, but he said to tell you in the men's restroom there is no sunshine in there." So she thinks it's an invitation to come
Yeah.
in there, and he ends up leaving him behind. So he stiffed him for the meal and the tip and everything else.
Right.
He finally gets his way to the new place where they were at, where his new location is he's working in, and he goes to the recon unit after seeing his new boss, which is a real one for sure, which
Mm-hmm.
we'll jump back to in just a minute. And he goes to the unit and sees, as he's introduced himself and tells them what he's about to do to all them, Mr. Stitch Jones himself walks in from the back, and he's looking at him. He's like, "I'm here to tell you people right now in the morning, you're mine." So he grabs him by the ear and tells him, "Where's your bunk?" you know, he just pulled him along by the ear, just like your mom would when you was a kid if you did something wrong or something.
Right.
Wanting his money back for the meal and the tip and everything. And he's like, "That's all I got." So he yanks his earring out and says, "You owe me some." And he throws it down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Um,
that's why he's wearing that white thing on his daggum ear the whole rest of the movie.
right.
I mean, like the whole rest of the movie almost.
They're consistent with it. They were very consistent with that.
Yeah.
It was. And, he starts his training with a part of the training is making sure that they're just like him every morning. If he has a black shirt on, they have to have a black shirt on. If he has a red shirt on, they have to have a red shirt on.
Right.
If not, they can't wear a shirt. They get to wear nothing. But
I
just
thought
this,
that was funny. That's pretty cool. I love it every time I state it's brought up in a movie, we talked about this. I think just a couple weeks ago that uh, Hell Week and all that stuff's done right here in South Carolina. Like the
yeah.
uh, was it Paris Island? Sorry, Paris Island's right here in South Carolina. So that when they took off running, like, what are you doing, man? Invading all of South Carolina?
Oh my gosh, they had to overadapt. They had to overcome. They had to improvise. Finally figures out how to tell what he's wearing because the place he's staying, the lady lays his clothes out every night. So he got with her to find out what he's wearing the next day.
Yeah, I loved it when he came in. Everybody was in the black shirts.
Yeah, they're just smirking and everything. That's right. We got it. He got it. That was kind of funny as well. He calls them out to do their PT or whatever, and he's telling them that we're going to be making sure these places are in tip top shape and cleaning up and everything. And they're like, "Oh no, no, it looks perfectly fine. It's done." He goes, "I'll tell you what. Let's take a vote. For those of you who
Yeah,
think it's tip top shape and doesn't need to clean anymore, raise your hand." They all raise their hand. He says, "There you go. Democracy at work. Running it
democracy.
is."
There you go. Running it is.
Running it is. So, the cast of the movie. Let's just jump to that for a second. Talk
Hmm.
about that for a little bit. Pretty good cast. Clint Eastwood. Everybody knows Clint Eastwood. Dirty Harry. Dirty Harry Callahan. I guess we should say. He's got a lot of different characters he's played over the years. A lot of great movies. A lot of great westerns.
Hmm.
Outlaw Josie Wales. The
Hmm.
Unforgiven. Uh, the Good, the Bad, the Ugly. Fistful of Dollars for a few dollars more. All the different Dirty Harry movies, Magnum Force, Tightrope wasn't Dirty Harry. Um, Deadpool, I think was a Dirty Harry movie, the last one they had of him.
Think you're right. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
man,
that was when he was already old.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and then what was that one with the old muscle car? When he was older, he did
Gran Torino.
Gran Torino. Man, I love that movie.
That's one everybody can't never remember the name of.
I know. I think it's the car. Space Cowboys, Million Dollar Baby. I said the Unforgiven already.
And
Uh,
where I know him from, probably from before movies. Not that I
bef-
was alive during this time, but he was
before
Rowdy Yates.
movies.
He was Rowdy Yates in Rawhide.
See Rawhide?
Heck yeah, man, he was Rowdy Yates, dog.
Man, I don't think I ever watched Rawhide.
I grew up on
I
Rawhide.
never. I
Rawhide
mean,
and the one that Little Joe and Big Hoss, because that was
yeah,
Michael Landon. Back
Bonanza.
when Michael Landon was a kid.
Well,
Bonanza,
see, so Bonanza and Green Valley, or yeah, the Green Valley? No, Big Valley.
Big Valley.
Yeah, Big Valley. But Big Valley had Lee Majors in it, and then of
Yep, yep.
course Bonanza had Michael Landon in it, Lauren Green. I
Mm.
didn't stop and realize that Rawhide had, you know, please, I'm looking at it right
And
now.
that was
Clint
back
Eastwood
when
in
he
it.
was young too. Like he
And
was young.
let's not forget in Gunsmoke. You know, I know we always talked about you got Matt Dillon, you know,
Mm,
the guy playing Matt Dillon in there, James Arness. But
mm.
who else came out of Gunsmoke that became really big in the movies after that?
Oh, it was a sidekick, wasn't it?
Not Festus, no, not him.
No.
No,
Oh,
this guy played a blacksmith in town. He was part Indian and part white guy.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
Clint Eastwood. That's Burt Reynolds.
oh, was it Bert?
Yeah, that's Burt Reynolds.
Oh, dang.
So I
Oh,
completely
see,
did
there we
not know
go.
about this one. See, I learned something new today. He was in
I
Rawhide.
didn't know that one either. Yeah, yeah, guys, because I remember I grew up on Rawhide, and like I said, daggum, I never growing up, I never made the connection because seeing him in Rawhide versus seeing him in Dirty Harry and Outlaw Josie Wells, he's a completely different looking dude.
Yeah. Now
And
the
then,
Enforcer was another one. You know what though? I'm
mm,
gonna tell you what. I've been talking about upcoming movies we want to do, and I gotta tell you, there is at least one more Clint Eastwood movie I'd like to do before we jump into the '90s.
yeah,
And I want to say it's Any Which Way You Can. He was in Every Which Way But Loose
yeah,
and Any Which
every
Way You
which way.
Can.
Yep. Hmm.
So if we jump past that, as far as Dirty Harry movies goes, he
Mm.
was in, let's see, The Enforcer. There was one called Dirty Harry, one called Magnum Force, one called The Enforcer, one called Sudden Impact, and then there was the one we said Deadpool was the last one they made of him. He
I
did
think so.
Pale
Yeah.
Rider. I mean, just this this is impressive right here. I got to do this. The
But
'80s, since
wasn't
we're
the
talking
Pale
about the
Rider?
'80s, huh?
Yeah. It seems like two or three of those uh westerns went with one another though. Like it was
Well,
about the same
yeah,
one. Maybe it was Josie Wells. I'm thinking
no,
of.
Pale Rider is one of them. He plays the character Preacher,
Okay.
and I think Unforgiven is no, that's Bill Money. Who was the other one? He was Preacher, and he was Preacher in two different movies, I think.
Okay.
Now I might be wrong about that, but I thought he was.
He was the stranger in one. He didn't have a name. Just a stranger. What was that?
Well,
Stranger.
I'm looking at the names right now. I see Josie Wells. I see
So
Thunderbolt
he
and
was
Lightfoot.
Joe
Oh,
in a
High Plains
fistful of
Drifter.
dollars.
High Plains Drifter. He was a stranger,
Yeah, High Plains Drifter. So see, I thought that like a fistful of dollars, and
and for a
then
few dollars more,
yeah,
he was Monco.
okay.
Well, no, it says a fistful of dollars. He plays Joe, but for a few dollars more, he plays Monco. It says. I thought it was
Well,
back to. I thought they were kind of sequels.
it
Shows what we
seems to
know.
me like two or three of them went together though. Swear to God.
Okay, well, he was
But
not.
anyway,
He wasn't Preacher in another one. That was the only movie he played Preacher in. So I must be thinking something different.
well,
But I just want to go over this real quick since we're talking '80s. This stretch of movies he had in the '80s
hmm
that he did. I mean, I'd like to start it with '78, but we're gonna go to we're gonna do it right and go '80s. In 1980, come on,
you
scroll
got
back
you
down.
got to at least mention Escape from Alcatraz though. That's one of my favorite
I'll tell
movies
you
he
what.
made.
Let's start in '78 then. Okay,
Okay.
'78 he had Every Which Way But Loose, and
Yep.
'79 Escape from Alcatraz. In
That's one of my
80,
favorite movies of his. Period.
yeah,
For
it's
some
a great
reason, I just love that movie.
it's a great movie. It is. In 1980, he did Bronco Billy. In 80, he also did Any Which Way You Can. 82, he did Firefox. In 82, he did Honky Tonk Man. In 83, Sudden Impact. 83, The Enforcer's Sudden Impact. It's a music video. 84, Tightrope. 84, City Heat. 85, Pale Rider. 86, Heartbreak Ridge. 88, The Deadpool. 89, Pink Cadillac. And that's the end of his 80s, or the stretch from 78 to 80. I'm sorry,
Mm,
78 to 90. That's an impressive stretch of movies that he did, and all of them were hits.
yeah. Well, he
I
kept
mean,
on going too, man. Like after that, in
well,
'90s,
yeah,
you
yeah.
had The Rookie, Unforgiven, In the Line of Fire, Perfect World, uh, Bridges in Madison County. That was a huge date movie. Absolute Power, True Crime, Space Cowboy. Well, Space Cowboys is 2000. And he came back in 2008 with Gran Torino.
Well, no, you missed Million
Like I
Dollar
said,
Baby in
a
'04.
bunch of them. Oh yeah,
Million,
$1 Million Baby was huge.
yeah, that was huge for him too. Absolute
My
Power
favorite
was good.
quote, my favorite quote, Clint Eastwood quote of all time
Hmm.
of every one of these movies from 1955 all the way to now was in Space Cowboys when they was in the they was in that cafe or whatever with the younger astronauts.
Hmm.
And that dude, he's a big dude too. He stepped there. He said, "I'll kick your ass, old man." And he got right in his face. He's like, "Go ahead, I got Medicare."
Yeah.
Dude, that was one of the way he did it, man. That was one of the best things.
And
I wasn't
because
my
you
favorite
did,
thing either.
do you know
He's
why it
like,
was
"Well,
so great though?
you might, but you gonna have to."
Yeah.
You
You
know
know
what I
what's
mean?
so great about it though? Because
What?
years before, he looked at someone, he said, "Go ahead, make my
Make my
day."
day.
And this
Yeah,
time, it's just go ahead. I have
I got
Medicare.
I have Medicare. I fell out, man. And I had that came out when 98, 96,
Oh
something like
gosh,
that.
something like that. Yeah.
So I mean, it was like I was young, but I knew what it was, and I got it, and it was just absolutely pure. No, it came out in 2000, so I was 20, 21 when I saw it. But man, alive, that just got to this day that gets me. Sometimes I just look that scene up to show it people. It's like, hey, you gotta see this, man. And it's the funniest thing the way he just gets in his face. Like, yeah, you might. He basically said he's basically saying, yeah, you might whoop my ass, but guess what? You're gonna have to.
Well, let's talk about the lady who he's also chasing after again, Marsha Mason. She plays
Marsha
Aggie,
Mason,
and
Marsha.
Marsha. Why is it always about Marsha?
Wasn't that
She
white
played
cat?
in Max Dugan Returns. She was
Mm-hmm.
Heartbreak Ridge, Hot House TV series. Uh, and then let's see, in the '90s, she picked up a little bit again with Stella, Drop Dead Fred, I Love Trouble, the movie with Gary. I started to say Gary Busey, Nick Nolte,
She
and
was
Julia Roberts.
Polly.
Yeah,
She
I mean, some TV
that was
series she guested on at that point in time, and
Frasier.
uh,
She did Frasier.
yeah. So a lot of work she's put in over the years. A lot of she started in movies early on. It looks like, but she more or less graduated. I don't say you can't say graduated to TV. I don't guess TV is supposed to be
Mm-hmm.
like the small screen versus the big screen, but she
Mm-hmm.
definitely stayed employed. We'll say right.
Mm-hmm.
She stayed
I
relevant
would
with some stuff. So
say that's safe to say.
yeah. Now we're getting to the point here where Marty, who was on with us last week, wants to me to toss a question at you. We got Everett McGill that played Major Malcolm Powers. Okay,
Okay.
Everett McGill has been in quite a few movies in his time.
Mm,
Uh, at least two of them stood out to me earlier that I remembered him from, but there was two that were horror movies that he wanted to know if I knew, and I got one of the two. Can
yeah.
you tell me two horror movies in the '80s that this guy was in? Well,
Uh,
let me take it back. Two horror movies. And one of them is in '91, but the other one was in the '80s.
so I can't think of one in the '80s. I can't think of one in the '80s, but he was in People Under the Stairs.
Right, that's the one I got,
Yeah.
and the one that me and you both missed apparently was Silver Bullet. He was the Reverend.
Oh, Reverend. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, Reverend Lowe is the name.
Okay.
He was in Quest for Fire. He was in Brubaker. Um,
Hold on. I don't know. I've never seen this. I gotta watch Silver Bullet. I hadn't seen Silver Bullet. It's got Gary Busey and Corey Haim in it too.
yeah, it's a werewolf movie.
I have not seen this one.
You're so big on werewolf movies, I find it hard to believe. You never seen this?
I don't think I have. A paraplegic boy?
Yeah, you'll like it if you watch it. I
No,
think
I
you'll
have
like it.
not seen this. I did watch Werewolves, the one him and I were talking about last episode, and I loved
Yeah,
it.
I'm
I
pretty
really
sure
hope
you'll
it turns
find this
into a
good.
franchise.
I think you'll like it.
I'm
Before
gonna, yeah, I'm
Heartbreak,
gonna watch that.
before Heartbreak Ridge, he did another movie called Field of Honor, playing Sergeant DeConing. Um,
Mm.
I have not seen that one myself, but one it's two back to back army type films. He got a part of the
He
TV
was in a
series one episode of Tour of Duty. The
Steven
TV,
Seagal movie too, wasn't he?
yes, that's the other one I recognized him from. He was in Under Siege 2, Dark Territory.
Yeah,
He plays the bad guy, the equivalent of Tommy Lee Jones from the first one. So,
yeah. He said, "What? Nobody beats me in the kitchen."
right.
It's so stupid.
Oh,
It was funny though.
but
Hey, at
another
the
one.
time, we make fun of Seagal now, but at the time, the Seagal movies was on point though.
Well, they were though. They were the big thing at the time, and we didn't know any different about him. Just like people. We did a whole episode on this. So if you guys want to listen to it, go back to some of the really earlier episodes. Within the first 10 episodes we did an episode of Seagal versus Van Damme, and talking about their real life stuff they've done, plus the movies they've been in and everything, and just things we dug up online about them and everything. How they said Van Damme tried to fight him at a party at Sylvester Stallone's house, and Seagal walked out, wouldn't have anything to do with it. Seagal calls him a fake champion, a fake artist, fake martial artist. He calls a lot
Yeah,
of people fake martial artists. So if you think about it,
he
um,
does.
somebody, I don't know if it was Arsenio Hall or somebody else, threw out names at him, and he would just smile and nod his head, wouldn't say much about him. And
Mm.
Michael Jai White was one of them. And I think he better be careful talking about Michael Jai White.
Dude, Michael Jai White, yeah, Michael Jai White's the real deal, man.
Yeah, I think he'd whip him in a heartbeat.
Michael Jai White
Um,
ain't no game.
no.
Joe Rogan. Now we know Joe Rogan. Okay, so Van Damme may be king of the splits, but Joe Rogan is king of the kicks. And Joe Rogan said the only other he I forget the old guy that he names off, but he said that Michael Jai White is the second most perfect form with his kicks and stuff that he's ever seen.
Hmm.
Like you don't want none of that. You
No,
don't want none of that.
you don't.
He didn't want none of Van Dam either. Van Dam was for real. Van Dam was like he really won contests and stuff. But he really did what was it? He put the invitation out or challenged him or whatever to uh a sparring
R-
contest, and then the
Right.
proceeds would go to charity. But ma- man, Steven Seagal knows that a keto mess is a bunch of bunk anyway. Well, that's like let's see, Sasha Mitchell got into it with somebody famous one time, and then also Tommy the Green Ranger. Uh, he really about whooped somebody's tail one time. I remember if it was a Comic Con or a red carpet or something, but he was ready to go, and then he invited them to have a match as well. So evidently Tommy the Green Ranger. So evidently all most I don't want to speak falsely. Most of the other rangers are not true martial artists, but evidently Tommy the Green Ranger is he was actually the real deal, kind of like Ernie Reyes and the Ninja Turtle, you know.
Yeah. Right. Ernie Reyes was definitely the real deal. He was in movies as a kid, growing up and everything too. Everett
He was
McGill
one
was
of the three
also
ninjas, wasn't he?
no,
He wasn't one of the three ninjas.
no.
Or
Ernie
was
Reyes, no. He was in
he
the
was
Last
a little
Dragon.
kid? That's what it was.
He was in the Last Dragon. He was also in Disney's Last Electric Night movie, and him and Gil Gerard had a TV show together called Sidekicks.
Sidekicks. That's what it was. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
Sidekicks.
yeah. Everett McGill, the last movie I remember him from was My Fellow Americans. That was a funny movie.
Oh my God, is that the one that had my guy in it from Maverick?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah,
Jim Garner,
Garner. Yes, Garner.
James Garner, and
James Garner.
Jack Lemmon. I think
Yes.
they were
They were
both opposing presidents running against each other at some point.
yeah, yeah.
And then they were running together.
He was also in two other big movies I would be remiss for us not to mention. It was he was Noah in Quest for Fire, and he was also Stilgar in the original Dune movie.
Well, no, I mentioned Quest for Fire earlier, but
Oh,
I
did you?
probably
My bad.
I think I missed
Missed
Dune
it.
though.
I missed it.
Yeah, I did miss Dune. I didn't mention Dune.
Uh,
Um, the lady that played the lady who owned the bar is Ellen Heckart.
is it
She
Alan or is it Eileen? I think it's
I'm
Eileen.
sorry, that's Eileen, not Ellen. Eileen from 1919. She actually died in 2001.
Oh
So,
wow.
but she was known for
She was
Heartbreak
in.
Ridge, The First Wives Club.
I would say
But
she was Kathy McDougan in the First Wives Club.
yeah, she did Tales from the Dark Side in '88.
First Wives
Uh,
Club's funny if y'all ain't seen it, man.
I,
That
I,
movie's actually funny.
yeah, I have not seen it.
It's a good
Um,
one.
she was in the TV series 9 to 5. Um, let's see, I know what other movies. Stephen King's Golden Tales. No, that's a video of some sort. TV series Highway to Heaven, Partners in Crime, Trapper John
She was
M.D.
she was Hattie Silks in Gunsmoke.
See, I know I've seen her in other things before. Things like Gunsmoke and Little House on the Prairie. I'm looking at here.
Yeah.
The Cosby Show.
Alfred Hitchcock presents.
These are things I've seen her on. I know that's why she looks so familiar to me when
Barnaby
I seen it.
Jones. I hadn't heard that name in forever. I
No,
probably seen I've probably seen 5 or 6 episodes of Barnaby.
Barnaby Jones. It's Buddy Ebsen right there.
Yeah. Oh, Barnaby Jones, Hawaii 5 She was, yeah. We talked about it before though. Usually if they do a couple of TV shows,
They're on
they start
everything.
bouncing around and do a lot of stuff.
They
So
did.
Mary Tyler Moore, like you said, Little House on the Prairie. Daggum. I didn't even. Oh, it's a mini series. I was gonna say Backstairs at the White House. There's a lot of stuff, man.
Well, some
Trapper
other.
John M.D. That's another
Yeah,
one I ain't heard in forever.
I
Highway
know
to Heaven.
that was popular when it was out.
Yeah.
So some other notable names that was out there: Bo Svensson, Moses Gunn, Mario Van Peebles. We've mentioned and some of the things he'd been in. Um, Arlen Dean Snyder played the sergeant major that was friends with Gunny Highway.
Hmm.
And some of the people that he had in the recon unit, Fregetti was
So
Vincent Israeri. Profile was is played by Tom Villard. Um, Ramon Franco was Aponte, the one that was trying to go AWOL almost. There's
yeah.
a lot of small role people in here.
So Moses was a big dude though, but I mean
Back
not
in
a
his
big
day,
dude, like
yeah.
not. I don't mean his stature. I mean like he was on. I remember him from Shaft.
Shaft,
He,
Little House on the
he
Prairie.
yeah, he was bumpy in Shaft.
Yeah, he's been in quite a few things.
That old movie Rollerball.
Mm-hmm.
He did quite a few things. Yeah, he was in Little House on the Prairie. He was Joe for a little while. He was in Amityville. I knew I seen that dude in a bunch of places, man. The Never Ending Story, Firestarter. He was Dr. Pennicott in Firestarter.
Mm-hmm.
We did here a little while back.
Right.
Yeah, he did a lot of stuff,
Be
man.
sure to check out that Firestarter episode. That was a fun
Bates
episode we had.
Motel. Yeah, y'all need to check that out, especially since that half of the movie was filmed in a place that ain't even there no more.
It's a shame too, but
I
yeah, he's
know.
right. What was the
Yeah, why
hurricane
don't
that took it out? The hurricane,
Hurricane Helene?
yeah, part of Hurricane Helene.
Mhm. Mhm.
Did you remember the part
Hundreds
of
of
the?
thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people lost their jobs, but Disney gonna send 11 million out to the Palisades.
That's where the movie stars are from, though, right?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All your big people. I saw a thing. Not to go too far off track here. If I don't run out of time, but they were talking to Mel Gibson with the loss of his house,
Mhm.
and he said it's almost. He said it's kind of surreal to him. He said, yeah, he lost some things in it, some valuable things, and so he lost some memories and stuff in that house and things of that
Yeah, for
nature.
sure.
But he said it's almost like a sign of moving on, of getting out of
Yeah.
there and getting away from there. And He's also about to release a movie, the follow up, The Passion of the Christ, that he
Oh,
did
okay.
years ago. He's
Yeah.
doing a follow up of that movie now, and
Okay.
so he's kind of a unique outlook on his, like it was a meant to be thing for him or something. Especially
Hmm.
since he's not been too welcome in Hollywood lately with some of his views and everything.
Yeah,
But
100%.
did you remember the part in the movie where the lieutenant, they're already in Grenada, they've already taken the hill and everything, and they're being fired upon. He's trying to get air support, and he
Hmm.
figures out a way of using some phone lines. If he can get to find out where the phone lines are disconnected at to fix them to get air support, so they get
Hmm.
Stitch
Yeah, that was
Jones
right
to take
close to
care of it.
the end.
Right at the end there, yeah.
Yeah.
The use of a credit card to place long distance landline fire support is based on an actual event in the Operation Urgent Fury Grenada action.
Yeah.
This is a U.S. Navy SEAL rescuing the Governor General placed a calling card call to SOCOM, which brought an AC 130 gunship to bear on an APC that was firing on them.
Hmm.
So that's actually been done. That actually happened. They used that in the movie
Yeah,
as a real
buddy.
deal.
Yeah, buddy.
The sequence involving the bulldozer when Stitch Jones gets on the bulldozer and raises the thing up and's leading the way, where the bullets it's like a shield. They're all behind the shield, being the bulldozer was based on a real event. The
Hmm.
officer who actually did that, what this is it says here, the officer who actually did what Clint Eastwood portrays was John Abizade,
Hmm.
Abizaid. At the time, a captain and a Ranger company commander. He recently retired in U.S. Central Command, CENTCOM commander in charge of all U.S. forces in Iraq, Afghanistan, and rest of the Middle East. So they've done some things in this movie that are actual, real things here. To get in the character and understand the mind of a highly decorated Marine, Eastwood shadowed Marine and Navy Cross recipient James L. Johnson. After many deployments to Vietnam, JJ was told he could not deploy again after requesting an additional deployment. This tough nosed man was perfect for Clint to shadow for some time. Eastwood even does a name drop for him during the ball scene while wearing his dress uniform. What would JJ Johnson do? you,
And to let y'all know too, uh, that AC 130. Hey, you don't want to see when I'm coming. Y'all go out and Google AC 130 J Ghost Rider. That's some gun. I'm gonna tell you right now. Just two of them will remodel all of Atlanta. Like
wow,
them things are ridiculous, dude. You don't want to see no AC 130 coming your way.
that's crazy.
Mm-mm.
The title of the movie was derived from Korean War's Battle of Heartbreak Ridge, also known as the Battle of Windigley or Windingley, or however you say it. It was fought between
Wing
September
Wingley.
13th and October 15th of 51.
Mm-hmm.
The movie itself is a fictional account of the real life invasion of Grenada by the U.S., though some sequences in the movie were based on actual events from that engagement, which we went over a second ago.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of interesting.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Says, though he acted in earlier war movies and directed others later in his career, this is the only war movie of Clint Eastwood where he both acted and directed.
Yeah.
Uh, okay, so
Where's Patch?
Swede Johansson.
Swede.
He's Peter Koch,
Sweet, sweet, sweet.
Koch.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what he was doing while this movie was being filmed?
Bodybuilding or wrestling.
Playing for the NFL team, the Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh, that
While
makes
this movie
sense.
was, yeah, he was drafted by the Bengals in '84, following a trade to the Chiefs for the '85, '86, '87 season, finishing his career with the Raiders in '89.
Yep, yep. I can see that. I can see that.
He was definitely built like a football player,
Hey,
wasn't
I'm
he?
gonna tell you what. Go to his IMDb page, boy. You better lock your mama up, son. I'm
Who,
telling you.
what, Peter
He,
Koch?
yeah, you better lock mama up. He get you granny, son. He got him a head full of hair and a nice goatee. He look like one of them old man models for the new cuts for the beard commercials or something.
Uh-oh.
And dude, he's still jacked, bro. Like he's jacked. Like there's one of him in a blue tank top. It's like the first picture on IMDb.
Yeah.
It's like yeah, homeboy's jacked. How old is this dude?
I don't know.
Born January 23rd, but it don't give it a year.
I mean, if he was playing professional football in '84, He'd be about 18 in 84, 85.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah, and he had to be early 20s in this movie or mid 20s.
I would say at least 18 and 84. He may have been older because he was drafted from college. So
Yeah,
he could have been 20 or 21 too in 84.
heck yeah.
So
Old boy kept himself together.
Mario Van Peebles had to convince Clint Eastwood he could play guitar. He could not play guitar at first, but he took several quick lessons to make it look more believable. In the original
I like
script,
Mario Van Peebles, man. I feel like he overlooked actor, man. I feel like he didn't make. I wonder what. I'm gonna look him up and see why he didn't get big. I don't know. I don't understand it.
you know what? Let's bring him up real quick while we're thinking about it. Mario Van Peebles, known for Jaws of Revenge, Heartbreak Ridge, Panther. Let's see
Ain't
here.
even gonna say nothing about Highlander and that other cowboy movie.
That's just three of the first three movies it brought up at the top he was known for.
Mario.
Scrolling down toward that early time frame though, so in the 80's, his first thing was 71. But then he had some TV movies, The Exterminator 2 in 84,
Mm,
Cotton Club in 84, Delivery Boys in 85, something called Rapping in 85, South Bronx Heroes. He's in the Cosby Show for an episode. The
yep.
last TV, a movie called Last Resort, Hot Shot, Heartbreak Ridge,
Facts of Life
Jaws,
Down Under. What the
a
heck?
TV movie, Jaws of Revenge.
New Jack City, son.
I was that's why I started saying I know he's in one of those movies like New Jack City. I couldn't remember if it was New Jack City or if it
Yeah.
was
Posse.
that
That's the one I'm trying to think of.
oh
Posse was.
that's the Western.
Yeah, that movie was awesome.
Yeah. Um
He was
Highlander,
good in
the
New
Final
Jack City too.
Dimension.
He was Stone in New Jack City. He was Jesse and Posse. Max Dyer in Full Eclipse. Kane and Highlander. Daggum, like, dude, I don't understand. I just don't understand why he didn't make it bigger. You know what I mean?
I mean he
Dirty
worked from
Mayo and Crazy Six. Oh, he's still working. That dude, he never quit.
I'm just saying you're talking about why he didn't make it. I mean, from 1971 clear up into 2024, and 2024 is a movie called Outlaw Posse. Played a
Yeah,
guy named Chief in it, and so he's still doing things like you
yeah.
said. So
He
it's
played.
not
He
that
played. He played Malcolm X in the Ali movie with Will Smith in it too.
yeah, it's not that he
He was
didn't
in.
make it.
Yeah, he was in that Carlito's Way, the second Carlito's Way, the sequel, Rise to
Mm,
Power or whatever.
yeah,
Well, I mean, it's yeah. I'm not saying he didn't make it. I'm saying like why I don't understand like why he ain't. He's like a Treat Williams. You know what I'm saying? Like why didn't he headline no big old? I just feel like he should have been a bigger superstar than he was. He's a star, not a superstar. I feel like he should have been a superstar.
yeah. Well, now in the original script, Sergeant Highway was a career Army officer. The U.S. Army read the script and refused to participate, so they changed it to a Marine. The Marine Corps first cooperated, but upon viewing a first cut, it quickly disowned this movie because of the foul language. The portrayal of Gunnery Sergeant Highway, a Medal of Honor recipient, being disparaged by his commanding officer, has been deemed controversial by enlisted and former USMC members who consider this rude and insulting. It says, in fact, Power's disrespect is very much in keeping with his character or lack thereof.
Yeah,
Well, overall with the movie, do you have a favorite scene in there that you like the
I'm gonna
most?
watch this Outlaw Posse. That actually looks good. It's a Mario Van Peebles film. Maybe that's why he didn't make it big. Maybe it's because he's a mulatto dude that loves westerns.
He also did some directing work too, I believe, perhaps
He
if I'm not
did. Oh,
mistaken.
he's been at work, man. Yeah, he Mario is big, but I'm just yeah. Favorite part. Man, it's hard for me to pick, really.
If you don't have a favorite, because it's there's a lot of good scenes in it, is there just one that stands out
I'm
to
gonna
you that you
say,
always remembered?
I'm gonna say when the whole thing, the whole running thing about the AK-47, and
Hmm.
when the dude came in wanting them all to fill out papers, write down statements and stuff, and they was all like, "No, I ain't got nothing to say to you." Like they he had made up the song about how badass Highway was, and then right after that, dude come in like, "We need to sign this," and my man was like, "No habla inglés," and then
Yeah.
yeah, I think yeah, that's my
It
favorite part
says,
right
"Don't you
there.
want to go back to where nobody was messing with you?"
Yeah, he's like,
It
"Look like
says,
ain't nobody fucking with us now." Excuse, oh,
"Yeah."
we're going to bleep that one. We're going to have to bleep that one.
That's
That's
why I
definitely
said messing with you, so you
yeah,
would
my
pick up
bad.
on that. Man, you're gonna make me put some work in this time.
I got too excited because yeah, that's definitely my favorite part. Just to see them, all the cats was like, they didn't like him, this and that, and then you seen them gradually getting back to him, and then when they won the race or whatever it was, the battle for the hill, and then yeah, then they was their loyalty came through. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if there was something that stands out to me that I always remember when someone brings up Heartbreak Ridge to me, is two things. One is when he first shoots the AK at him, and they're all ducking for cover and everything. They're like, "What is that?" And he's like, "That's the AK-47's preferred weapon of your enemy. It makes a very distinctive sound when fired upon you."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Yeah, it does." And then later on, they get the lieutenant with him this time, and he
And
does it
the bullet
again.
like ricocheted right beside his. Oh well, yeah, okay. I thought you was talking about when they was in the fight on Grenada.
No. When
Yeah,
he's with him this time, and then he's like, "Oh my god, man, what was that?" And the one that plays not profile, but Freghetti, he tells
yeah.
him, he says, "Sir, that's the AK-47."
47
Another
makes a
one
very
goes,
distinct.
yeah, a different one goes, "It's the preferred weapon of our enemy, sir."
Yeah,
And the third one goes, "Makes a
it makes
very
a
distinctive noise when fired upon you."
yeah.
And he's like,
And
"It
then
sure does."
and then later, and then at the end of the movie, or close to the end of the movie, when they get on Grenada and they're actually in the real firefight, like bullets are whizzing by their head, like a bullet like cracked like right in front of one of them or something, hit the stone or something. And like
Mhm.
they're like, "Oh my God, what was that?" And they did it again. That's an AK-47. It makes it's the preferred weapon of our enemy. It makes a very distinct sound when firing upon you.
Yeah, this is definitely that, and the other memorable part is when they were racing to get to that one point, and Recon gets to the water first, and the other one
Mhm.
tries to say they got there first, and they have to fight it out. They're doing matchup in the water, and
Right, and
you get
that's what led to that was the race that I was talking about that led to them showing their allegiance, their loyalty to
right,
the
right,
highway.
yep, and then you get the the two leaders have to go at it, and since the one who is leader of the whole thing was leading the group that day. So Moses Guns Webster, he didn't have to get out there in the fight. It was against Highway. It was Eddie. He says, "Old man, it's time somebody put you in your place."
Yeah.
He just smiling at him like, "Yeah, we're gonna
Mhm.
see about this. We see how that went."
Yep.
Um,
Mark
definitely,
oh, with him.
definitely one of my this is one of my more favorite, I think, war type movies. It's not as much a favorite of an action war movie like you would see with Saving Private Ryan, or something like that. When it's got a lot of action involved in it,
Yeah.
but
This
overall,
one to me falls in the category of like with basic training type movies. That like I said, that formula, you know what I mean? Because it
yeah,
wasn't basic training, but it falls into that category where, the majority of the movie is that. The majority of the movie is their training and his plight with his superiors and trying to get back with his ex. And
yeah,
then the last 11 to 15 minutes of it is the actual battle
right, right.
skirmish.
But they were definitely well prepared. It looked like
Absolutely. They didn't want to go though. He was like,
no,
"Man, I didn't even bring my son. What was it? I didn't bring my suntan lotion or something like that. My
right,
sunscreen. I didn't even bring my sunscreen."
right. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and get this wrapped up. We're at that time right now. So, for those of you who are tuning in for the first time today, thanks for tuning in to us and listening. If you want to hear a lot more of the show, you can go back to our archive. We are on YouTube, or you can go
Or a
to,
little more. You don't have to listen. No, you don't have to binge. You can listen like
well,
once a
yeah,
day or something.
right. I mean, you don't have to say binge and download all of them at once, which boosts my numbers a
Yeah.
whole lot every day when that happens. You don't have to
Right.
do that,
Yeah.
but you're welcome
Have
to
to do
that.
that.
You're welcome to.
Absolutely.
Or one a day, like he said, for a while. Anyway, you can catch up our old stuff if you want to. We get a lot of great movies we've gone over in the past. Majority of them are 80s movies. That's the entire last year was 80s, like I said, and the first year is probably more 80s and 90s. I tend to fall back on 80s more than anything else, but we will be coming up with some 90s movies here soon as well. So if you're a fan of the 90s, start sending your request in for anything you want us to go over, any movie you want us
Absolutely.
to do. Um, we are on Spotify and iTunes and pretty much anywhere where you get your podcast these days. We are on
Amazon Prime.
YouTube.
I
Uh,
listen to us on Amazon sometimes.
do you really? I've
hmm
not checked Amazon Prime lately to
Yeah, we're
see.
on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
But you can't. No, all you could do on Amazon is like thumbs up or like. I don't know if it sends metrics back to you or anything like that.
Well, I mean, anywhere where I get a download it shows up as a metric as a download. But
Okay.
if you are listening on iTunes, you can give us a review in iTunes. That's very much appreciated. It helps us with the algorithm there and gets us noticed by Apple. And on
Yep.
Spotify, you can give us up to a 5-star a 5-star review to show your love of the show there and everything. On YouTube, you can go to youtube.com/ at retro life for you, and that takes you to our page with all of our videos we've got on there. All the new stuff hits there every week, and we have old stuff still to this day. I am uploading old stuff. I took a break from it for a little bit, but I'll start getting some more up there soon
There you go.
of the older things and everything. We wouldn't have too much more to go. And our webpage itself is www.retrolife, the number 4, the letter u.com, and you can listen to us in your web browser. If you go in the show notes, you can watch the video that's tied into the video into the show notes. So
Yay, yay.
let's see, social media. Can't leave out social media. Follow us on
Uh,
Instagram and on Facebook. Now I know we talked about the TikTok being canceled earlier.
it ain't
We
going.
have a TikTok, but we don't really do anything with it. Really, I'm sorry, but I'm not very TikTok savvy. Um,
Not TikToky.
no TikToky. Oh, TikToky. However, if you want to see little short videos or videos in general, that's what YouTube's for too. So go to YouTube and watch us on there.
hmm
That being said, Travis, I don't know. You got anything that's you know
Yeah,
comparable to the movie you want to leave us with this week or anything?
I was raised by military, like I said, but main, my dad, his most of his friends were army, and they used to tell me to always be worried if you ever seen a a marine, like a smart marine, like a really smart marine.
Mm-hmm.
You got to worry about that. And I found out that you know what you call a marine with an IQ of 160,
What?
a platoon.
Platoon. You know what? Before we go this week, I'm gonna toss one in with you before we go.
All right.
Uh, Do you know the only branch of the military that will take a person who has no legs?
Nuh-uh.
That'll be the army.
That'd be the army.
Army.
The army.